Hello, educators. I'm here with Ian Simpson, who is our teacher community moderator, and he's been doing some really cool stuff with the tutorials feature and finding some nice little secrets that's helped him teach a bit more excitingly. How are you, Ian?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's not like we've just been chatting for the last 20 minutes or anything before we start recording this.
Pretend. Yeah.
No. It's good to pretend though. So talk us through what you've been doing, because you've had the tutorial feature for a while now, haven't you?
So after the 100 Days of Code was launched, I was obviously taken with the tutorial pane on the left-hand side, and I got some insider information, I don't know who from, to introduce that into my own teaching. So instead of using the sort of teacher instructions pane that pops up on the right-hand side, I was able to add the tutorials. And the students responded really well to that, because it was able,
I'm bringing up your screen for you. There we go. Go on.
Yeah, I was able to sort of break down the problem into sort of more bite-sized chunks, as it were, and that allowed the students to kind of not only check where they were between each lesson, but also not have cognitive overload. So it was really good, even just to have the text in the tutorial pane.
I think it's worth saying that the way it works by default in Teams for EDU is you have an instructions file which pops up on the right, but it's just one markdown file for the entire thing, isn't it? So being able to split that up into smaller chunks is the key.
Definitely. And it's something, like I say, that the students really responded well to. It also allows them to sort of make good progress in their code in sort of the middle pane, and then see the output without having it switch between the instructions and the console.
But you've been doing something really sneaky, which I've never been more excited about a little find as when we were talking about this the other day. So talk us through what you've done.
So what I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to support the students as asynchronously as possible. So that meant that usually I would just make videos and post them into a YouTube channel, but what I really wanted to do was have some way of having the video support pop up once they had submitted their solutions. So I used Teams for Edu solution feed to duplicate the project like this. So obviously at the moment we've got our tutorial folder, which has got all the markdown files. Okay, and once I've duplicated that into my solution, I can then start to build the code as I have here, but also
the key thing, so before you carry on, the key thing I think is to remember that when you create a solution for a project, it forks the project. So any changes you make to the solution don't affect the original project, and this is why Ian was able to do some amazing stuff here.
That's right. So that's something that's become quite important recently, is teachers want to sort of change the project after it has been forked by other students, and explain to them that no, it's now a copy of your original project. It's quite important. So yeah, so in my solution, it's a copy that's not linked back to the original task, so the students can't see any changes that I've made until they've submitted their own attempt. So in the solution, I've coded obviously my version of solution. The markdown is exactly the same, so it does appear as a tutorial pane on the left hand side. I could add additional support in there if I wanted to, but also because of the ability to add a single video into the tutorial, I'm able to have this pop up sort of floating panel, as you demonstrated in your 100 Days of Code, which contains me working through building the solution. So I record myself as I build the solution, and then I just add it into the tutorial. Add it into the solution at the end.
So this is amazing, because the students that are working on the project don't see that, because it's only in the solution. And I mean, presumably you set up the solution to only be visible when they've submitted it, or when they've got a certain amount of points on the testing or something like that.
That's right.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say that's absolutely right. It's just when they submit it.
So what that means then is that when they see the solution, this video is an extra part. And I really loved this when Ian showed this to me. This is a really nice way of using it, because it's misusing the feature a little bit, Ian, would you say? But I think for the right reasons. And I think this is lovely. And what I like in my head, the ultimate version of this is having, you maybe change the tutorial markdown a little bit to be a bit more commentary on how you might have broken it down, or the video goes into that depth. But I mean, to me, if you're going to record yourself working through the solution anyway as a support mechanism, this kind of modeling works better as a floating pane because students can mess around with the code and see what you've done as you talk about it. How have your students responded to this?
Really well so far, actually, because of the fact that I teach. So at college, I teach one subject for 3 hours once a week. So there's a lot of time where the students have got to work through work without that support of a lecturer in the room. So having these tutorial panes where I've got maybe a 15-20 minute video that I can split into chapters and they can work through just to see if there's any misunderstandings, or if they get stuck at a certain point, they can see how I implemented it and then sort of just validate their own response. I think that's really, really powerful. And so certainly the students have been responding really well to that. Another thing, which I wasn't intentional, but has been really important, is because it's hosted on YouTube, they can, if their first language is English, they can use the sort of auto-generated subtitles to understand what I'm saying most of the time. My Scottish accent sometimes doesn't work, but a lot of the time it's really, really good.
Oh, that's amazing. And that's one of the frustrations I always found in my school. We had YouTube blocked, so we had to upload all our videos to Google Drive, and it didn't do the auto captions. And I think they're so powerful, like especially for learners who are hard of hearing, who have English is not their primary language, or even sometimes you're in a busy classroom and you've run out of headphones. It happens, doesn't it? So it's worth having. But honestly, and this is a lovely use of this feature. I'm glad to see that the students are getting so much out of it. There's so much frustration with this sort of technology and async, isn't there? Because you give so much to your students in person, especially when they're getting stuck. And if they're getting stuck and you're not there, you need to give them all the tools you can. And I think this is a great way of doing that.
No, thank you. I mean, like I say, it was inspired by the 100 Days of Code. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure other teachers are doing this as well out there. You just don't know about it yet.
Well, if not, guys, there we go. We know what to do now. Go into your project, create a solution, and you can mess around then with a .tutorial folder within that to your heart's content to make a specific tutorial contents for your solution. Well, thank you very much, Ian, and thank you guys for watching. Tell us what you do with it, because we're always interested to see all the nerdy teachery things that you get up to.